Well, we've got Tim Baker here, and while we were doing obviously your catch up, there's so many other things I want to catch up with you. And I kept saying during the interview we couldn't get it all in.
Yeah.
So where do we even start? The airports and the seaport announcements. I mean, in that presidential thing on Thursday that the Chief Minister does, he said we should look at putting out announcements to stop that people coming in who don't know the rules. I mean, to me that sounds so obvious. I can't believe we're not even doing it. Does that come to you to get that sorted?
The policy and the approach really is driven from Cabinet Office in terms of what they want to happen. I mean, clearly in terms of delivery of that, the airport and the seaport
2 seconds to sort out, wouldn't it?
Can do it. It shouldn't take long.
I mean, if you fly to Australia or you go to Singapore, it's all about drugs. They tell you on the television. Australia used to be the fruit flies and that sort of thing. This seems so obvious, it's almost ridiculous. Because those people, the welders, and I'm not just putting down the welders, but that last moment of reality checking can be the difference between going to jail and Tesco.
It can. I mean, I don't really want to talk specifically about the welders situation, but from what I know, I don't think the problem was them not knowing what they were supposed to do or not to do. I think it was that they just chose not to follow the rules. But your general point is right. The more you can repeat the message, the clearer and simpler you can make it, the better. So absolutely, we just need to set out what we want, and certainly from a DOI point of view, one of the strengths of the department is going on and doing things and getting them delivered. So
you're going to sort it, are you?
We will do whatever Cabinet Office wants us to do, and they own this area, this whole policy of managing the returning residents and the key workers.
It's a small thing, but it's connected.
Absolutely, yeah.
Seaport, you're going to have a refresh, or you want to refresh baggage handling that is pretty dire, isn't it, when you come into the Isle of Man? I just think, welcome to the Isle of Man, and it just doesn't have a real wow factor to it.
It doesn't, and of course we've got the big investment going on in Liverpool, and it's been pointed out clearly that there's going to be quite a contrast between the super new ferry terminal in Liverpool and what people get when they get here, and I think
when we do get visitors back, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's a chance to do it there, isn't it, when you acquire it?
Yes, although there is an awful lot going on at the moment. There does need to be some upgrading of the building, but the actual building itself, the whole of the sea terminal building, is actually quite dated and would potentially absorb quite significant amounts of investment. And the question is, where do you draw the line? Clearly, government finances are impacted by COVID, and albeit the economy is stronger than we'd feared it was going to be at this point in time. There's been obviously a lot of money spent to support the economy and to support the health system over these past 6 or 9 months, and that's obviously comes at a cost.
Let's talk about Liverpool then. It's sliding, isn't it? It's slipping.
So, like any major construction project in the UK, COVID's had an impact. Working practices. And also the supply chain, and also all civil engineering projects of this sort of scale are complex. You saw that with the prom. You discover things that you didn't know.
Are you blaming it all on COVID, or is there generally being an issue or two on the construction?
There's a combination of factors. Yes, I mean the site it's a brownfield site. Brownfield sites are complex. We made allowances for. On a reasonable basis, but it's only when you get in the ground and start, getting serious with the scheme that you uncover the reality of some of these things. So,
with a delay means more cost, though.
Obviously, there's a contractual arrangement between the department as the client and CISC, who are the contractors who are delivering this, and there's a mechanism for dealing with any matters that arise.
Do you have to go back to Treasury to get more, or this mechanism of yours allows for it?
No, if Tynwald has supported a level of budget for the scheme, and if the scheme goes above that, then we'll have to go back to Treasury and to Tynwald to get that. There was an element of what's called risk allowance built into the contract, and what's called compensation events emerge, and they're professionally evaluated and priced to determine what the cost of and the impact of that actually was. So there's that's common. We're using standard industry contractual arrangements here.
Okay.
So
a delay anyway is inevitable. Or I mean, where are we up to? 'Cause have you actually said? I mean, I know you sort of flagged there may be a problem. Are you now saying that isn't going to open on time?
Depends what your definition of on time is. Originally, there was an intention to try and get it open for for the 2021 TT period, that's not going to be possible.
Is it going to be a TT?
That's a different question for.
Sure. Okay.
But in terms of the ferry terminal, it's going to be later than that.
So it's going to miss what would be the TT period. That's the summer.
It is, yes.
It's going to miss it.
Yeah.
So when's your new potential date?
We'd be looking to get it completed in the back end of 2021, and then. But
that's quite a delay, then, isn't it?
From June to.
Can you stay where you were until that point, or is it going to be some sort of temporary halfway house?
Well, again, that's a matter for Peel, who own the rights around the pierhead, and if we need to modify the plans for where we sail to, then clearly we'll do that. I mean,
when do you have to get out of the current?
Well, I mean, clearly our plans are linked into the cruise, the bigger cruise development in Liverpool, and again, that's likely to be affected by similar kind of issues. So we need to dovetail in with them, but come what may, we will have a good service from the Isle of Man to the northwest UK
in 2021.
We'll have a good service, yes. Whether it's to Liverpool is a separate question.
Ah, right. Well, let's flush this one out. Birkenhead, Heysham.
Well, obviously Heysham is our prime port. Whether it's to Liverpool itself, whether it's to Heysham, whether it's to Birkenhead, that needs to be determined closer to the time in the light of what the needs of the island are and what the possibilities are. But come what may, we've got a very reliable, robust, and regular service to Heysham, and we can add to that if we need to.
Okay, but if the TT was on, it would be a major issue, wouldn't it? I mean, by the sounds of this, there'd be all sorts going on.
Well, we'd have to work out for the TT what the alternative plans were, whether we put more services onto Heysham or whether. Yeah. I mean, of course, Heysham is a shorter journey, so actually you could turn your passengers around quicker and get more return trips done. So it isn't a simple Liverpool's good, Heysham's bad. Heysham actually, in many ways, is an ideal.
Can I just sum this up then? So potentially, where we are in Liverpool is going to go. There could be therefore a period because it's not going to. The new one will not open on time. We know that. You just said that.
The new one won't open on the original schedule.
So there's going to be a gap.
There's going to be a gap from where we originally intend to be to where we're going to be. The question is, Paul, whether we can continue to use, or whether the steam packet, because it's their arrangement, and don't forget they're an arm's length entity, whether they can continue to use the existing landing stage, and that will be a matter between them and Peel Ports, or whether an alternative is required. Yeah,
but you are the steam packet at the end of the day.
No.
At the end of the day.
No. There's a really important point here, Paul. Yeah. The steam packet is being run as a completely arm's length business with its own board. Yeah. It makes its own decisions. Clearly, it's got its shareholder as Treasury, but it's really important that we do stick to this arm's length principle. The relationship between the DOI and the steam packet company is governed by the Strategic Sea Services Agreement, which replaced the old user agreement. So that's our relationship with the steam packet. I'm sure if you were to interview Mark Woodward and the management team there, he'd be really clear about they run the business.